Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Here's a little bit of a riddle. How's it possible that I'm here in Rabbi Shemesh, yet at the same time, about an hour ago, I danced at a chasana in New York? No? Anybody? Here we go. No, it was Zoom. Schwache answer. Here's Yaakov Ayal's wedding, and of course, Pers Chaim Levin. You don't see what's going on?
I guess it's you.
It's the famous sign, free Gemara sign. Okay, next. Oh, here's the picture. Here's the sign, Nachman. You can see. What are you doing? You doing your mail now? What? No, you can't do mail now.
I'm doing your mail. I'm doing your mail.
But you're not inspiring me with that mail. Let me see the bill. What do you got here? Maybe MDY should pay it.
You don't want to go down that road. It's really nice. It's just thanks for me.
Okay, shkoyach.
Okay.
Here's the oilam at the wedding. Hi, I plan on arriving in Eretz Yisrael January 3rd. Bez Hashem, I'm bringing my 12-year-old son Moshe Yehuda over to celebrate the completion of him finishing MDY Mesechtes Tainis. Please see attached video where Eli gave me a signed copy of Mesechtes Tainis. Baruch Hashem, after 9 months and a day later of doing it with Rebelli online, he finally made it to the finish line. Rebelli mentioned that he would want to see him before his bar mitzvah. Well, here we are. I'd like to cater a Suda in Ramat Shemesh and have Rav Eli come and speak and give the bracha. So what days are you available? He gives me 4 available dates. Should I give into that? I don't speak at bar mitzvahs, but I don't speak at bar mitzvahs.
Yeah, sure you can speak.
You want a breakfast in MDY? You want to cater a Suda? Okay, we'll have to figure out what to do. Please let me know what day would work best. Sometime in the evening, it says. Thank you so much. Shmari Zellingold. Mazel tov. Old friend of Nachman. Nachman will speak Beis Hashem at your bar mitzvah instead of me. Shkoyach. Here he is. Look at this tzaddik learning the daf. He didn't do a daf a day. It took him 9 months to do it. Unbelievable. Rabbi say this is something I've never seen in my life. You could snicker all you want. Here's a person who the shiur made a huge impact in his life. How do I know? Well, after you see the video, you might chap also. Here's the video. My shvuger, also Chassid L'chair, Zalmi Horowitz, made a Hanukkah themed party honoring MDY. Watch the video. He made a 1-hour video of all the gossip introduction. In other words, the emails. The whole family was hooked up to your entertainment for an hour. Check this. I've never in my life seen anything like this. The pictures on the wall. My nephew sent me all the best. It's all about the daf. I thought it's all about the Yahrzeit. He thinks it's all about the daf. I don't know what happens. Something happened to the video. There's 2 video screens.
It's just you run a view. Is anyone there?
This is pre. Menachem.
No one's watching.
This is pre. Okay. Anyway, you get the point. My boy say unbelievable. Yes, the song. Noyach is a big. What is this?
Some of the cameras.
Wow. Oh, this is for my uncle's kiddush. I didn't want to tell anybody because then this would happen. Oh wow. Thank you for all your daily making and share success. Talmidim, get over here. Where are you going, Tzaddik? Look at this. Wow, there's a big, nice list. Thank you very much. All these people. Let me show you what it looks like. Special boards. By Eitan Ogoric. Fresh. Do I don't want? No, this is for the kiddush. To bring it home. Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eitan. Beautiful. Did you stickle extra? Did you give which piece is from you? You gave from every piece. Yeah, that's why I'm going to be in Yerushalayim based on the Shabbos. And Shiur, Motsei Shabbos, is in the satellite location by the Waldorf, across from the Waldorf, at about 8 o'clock, pizza and some other treats. Shkoyach. Once I'm at it, I have to say a tremendous shkoyach. First of all, This menorah right over here was given to us by Justin Ivry, not his real name. He's a chassid that likes to go by Justin Ivry. He's anonymous. But Yishkoyach for the menorah and the whole case, and he put it up himself. Yishkoyach. Also, I received a beautiful suit, an MDY themed suit by Harry Shalom and Moshe Kinsbursky. Both of them together, Tziruf. Mainly Harry, the pants, I should say, or from Moshe, and the jacket from Harry Yishkoyach.
You mean the trousers?
The trousers. Yes. The song, Noach was a big tzaddik, was first sang at Shulman Moran's MDY Siyum in Flatbush by Mendy Warsh. The nickname was created by the Nickelsburg Rebbe and Bloomstein's brothers. Thank you for all you do. Nate Wolf, Nachum Wolf Custom Apparel. So yes, Noach was a big tzaddik, first introduced by MDY Siyum. The Koilel, sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Masechta is sponsored, the entire Masechta is in the Nedarim. And Zgula Torah, Tomechia, Kիעקב Viעל. Sponsor of the day, Fagie George, on the Yahrzeit of his father, Gibor ben Gidon, Olav Shalom. Second sponsor, in honor of David Black, who loves learning Daf Yomi with MDY and tries to connect others with his enthusiasm. As you turn 60, we'd like to invite MDY to join our family celebrations and to wish you that you continue to enjoy and rejoice in Hashem's gifts every day, our health, lovely children, fulfilling work, and the zchut to live in the state of Israel and to study Torah here. Galia Chaim Betzalel. What's going on here, Tzaddik? There's no waving here in the Shiur. Okay. I want to speak about this. I want to speak about this a few times. I'll mention, I know it's Friday. Maybe not the entire Olam is watching. But in case there's somebody out there that's good with animation, please contact us because I really want to go that direction. I love the art, and I think once in a while we should do some animation, maybe a short clip, 30-second, minute clip. So if anybody's good at that, we need to know where to go and how to start. Fine. Beseder. So Shiur Motsei Shabbos is about 8 o'clock, right, Tomer?
What's the address?
The address. Now, here's a very interesting shaila that I came across this morning. And obviously, you know from the question that the answer is not so simple. If somebody gives tzedakah to somebody else, he gives him tzedakah, he gives him $100. Could he go to a rav and try to be mevatel that tzedakah that he gave? He already gave it to the ani. It's in the ani's hand. Similar question would be, a guy gave truma to a kohen, it's like tzedakah, gave truma to a kohen. Could he be mevatel it after he already gave it? Yeah? You hear the shayla? So what do you guys say?
Yes.
Of course not, right? So it is machlokes. The next thing we'll see is, we're talking about bittul, we're continuing with the sugi bittul. There's only one more daf, today's daf, but we're probably not going to finish the whole sugi. We have a few more lines on Motsei Shabbos. Talking about bittul, is there a concept of if you work harder, or you do something yourself, you can mevatel something. But if you don't work hard in the same action, the same story, it's not mevatel. So we're going to see today. Says the Gemara like this. We actually started the sugya 2 days ago. It's like I said then, it's a 3-day sugya. We had a question by Yishmael Ish Kfar Yama. Either he grew up on the ocean, he had an ocean view, didn't grow up in the ocean, but he had a question. What happens if you take an onion from Shemitah, which is also for you to take, it's after Zman Bir, whatever the reason is, it's also. You took it out of the ground and you planted it in the 8th year, and then in the 8th year, it grew. So according to the Ran, the question was, is the growth mutter? If the growth is mutter, then it's mevatel, nullifies the original onion, or not. So we had a Rabbi Yanai, and machlokes yesterday, we stuck up for Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yonasan son. Today we're going to attack Rabbi Yanai a little bit. Rabbi Yanai says that Truma, the question was on Shemitah. Now we're talking about Truma. Truma, fruit that you took and you tried to designate it to a kohen. And you took it and you planted it. So Rabbi Yanai holds that the growth that comes out of it, you plant it in the ground, the growth that comes out of it is mutter. And yesterday we were discussing this idea that when it comes to truma, it's not the ground that asers. Don't tell me that there's something about the ground and something. By the way, I have to say this because Rav Dani Kaladi is here. Yesterday I poked a little fun. Yishkoyach, Rav Dani, thanks for coming. And what's your name again, Tzadik? From Manchester. Shkoyach. I'm sorry about all the trouble here. It's hard to get used to. The new guys, you'll get used to it one day. Okay. Who else do we have here? We have another. Okay. Yankel Cohen and Motsei Shabbos. Great. So, yesterday we said that when it comes to Trumas and Meisers, even though the Torah uses a lashon of Sada, it really becomes Aser or becomes Chayiv b'Trumas and Meisers because he did a digon, a dagon. You see, Gary? Dagon. Like a pile. Yeah. Shkoyach. Okay. But that's not, so therefore, the Gemara is going to ask a question from our Mishnah. Finally, after 3 days, we're going into this whole, everybody's wondering what's going on with the onion and growing, because we're finally going to bring a raya from our Mishnah to this idea. And our Mishnah, we're Masechtas Nedarim, we're talking about a neder. The neder is similar to Truma and Meiser, that a neder doesn't become aser from the ground, it becomes aser from a person's mouth. Okay. Says the Gemara. Mazav Romi Bar Chama. Koinem Peiros Ha'elu Eli. Our Mishnah, person says, I'm making these peiros, like a carbon. Koinem Heim Alpi. I'm making them a carbon, they can't come into my mouth. Koinem Heim Lifi, to my mouth. Aser Bechilufeim Uvegiduleim. Where are we? Nun Tes, Amud Aleph, Lemala. Nun Tes, Amud Aleph, all the way on top. That's where we're holding. Masav Romi Bar Chama. 2 lines down. Need a ruler, we'll give you a ruler. 2 lines down. Kohen Beis Elolai, Kohen Meim Alpi, Kohen Meim Lefi. Also Bechilufeim Uvegiduleim. They're also, we explained, if you exchange it to another fruit, exchange it to money, and then you buy fruit. Uvegiduleim, if you take the seeds, and you plant it, all the off-growth that comes out of this original fruit is asur. We're learning a whole sugya of giduleim. I was just thinking as I was learning it, all the gidulim that we're learning about, all the growths that we're learning about, and some people have a hard time with it. What are we learning here? Can we get back to the regular Nedarim sugyas? But it should be a schos for all the cholim and Klal Yisrael that have gidulim, growths, especially Avi Mandelbaum. His gidulim should be batal mevutel ka'afar da'ara. Uvegiduleim, shani oichel, v'shani yitoyim, mutur b'chilufeim uvegiduleim. If a person says that he's not talking about this fruit, he says, I won't bring it into my mouth, I won't taste it, then you're allowed an exchange and a gidon. And then the Mishnah goes on to explain, B'davar shezare kala. This is, we're talking about a regular seed that decomposes. Avo b'davar shezare kala. But when it comes to an onion, or something like that, you have a bulb, and the original doesn't disintegrate. Afilu, gidulin, asurin, then it would be asur even the fruit of the fruit. Okay. Omar, so what do we have? We have here a kasha on Rabbi Yana. Over here you see that growths are asur. What comes out of it, gidulin, is asur. So we have a lot of freebie today. A lot of the stuff, a lot of things that we're going to be learning, we already learned. And this is the yesod that we had yesterday and the day before, that when it comes to neder, you could go to a Rav, here's a picture, go to a Rav, and tell the Rav, you don't want to, this actually is for the next thing, but okay, you go to the Rav and you say, I don't want to make a neder. My neder that I made, I don't want it anymore. So therefore, it becomes mutter. The fruit become mutter. The fruit that were also a minute ago now become mutter. So as we explained yesterday, the Ran explains it beautifully, that when you have 2 apples that are identical, one cannot be mevatel the other. But if you have 2 apples that are identical, but they have a different halacha to them, one is a asur, one is a mutter, then they could be mevatel each other. They're different. There's something else. They're not apples. They're not the same. There's an invisible thing that makes them very, very different. One is mutter, one is asur, one is kosher, one is not kosher. One is Torah, one is tamei. When you have two apples that have, one has an isser, one has a heter, and the one that has an isser, you're expected even, and the Gemara is going to say later, maybe I stuck in the word too early, but one of them you're able to make mutter, so now you view the two apples as two apples that are both mutter. Two apples that are both mutter, the same min cannot be mevatel each other. Shani koinamos, when it comes to a koinam, to a karban, to a neder, since you could go to the Rav, the Rabbanim, here you go to the Rabbanim, and you say, Rabbanim, I want to make hatorah Nedarim, havaluhu, then it turns into kedava sheyesh li matirim. Then this fruit that you said you're not going to eat becomes something that's mutter to eat, ve'ein batel beroiv. Then it's not batel beroiv. Why? Because min b'minoi, two mutters don't cancel each other out. I heard a vitz this Sunday, I believe it's this Sunday, something like that, is Nittelnacht. It's Motsei, okay, Sunday, Motsei Shabbos, Nittelnacht. So a lot of Hasidim don't learn on Nittel. They don't learn on Nittelnacht. So I heard a Vart that many times when you learn very little during the day, so your day could be mevatel beroiv, the learning. It becomes batel beroiv. So what do? What do they do? They have a day in the year that's also to learn. So Memela, there's a day that it's mutter not to learn. So it's a davar sheyesh li matirim. It's a davar sheyesh li matirim is not batel beroiv. You mamish love the vart, I see. Like, you're a Lutzk, you're called a Lutzk, you don't have these things. Tisha B'Av. You're a terrible Litvish Rosh Koilel who has to pircha on the kasha. He says, but what about Tisha B'Av? You don't need another day. You already have Tisha B'Av. Okay. No, talking about a day.
You gotta learn certain things. Literally, you can't learn anything.
You can't learn. The Yavai, a semi-chassid, semi-litvak, and he'll... Okay. Says the Gemara, Vari Truma, the boy Mitchell, Allah, Ubatle. Now, the guy takes out the word beroiv, you see on the side, because how much, we had the chart yesterday, how much is a piece of Truma bottle in? 1 in 100. 1 in 100. Truma is 1 in 100. Arla is 1 in 200. So it's not beroiv. It's not beroiv. So take out the word beroiv, he says. The boy Mitchell Allah, Ubatle. Truma also. You could go to the Rav and say, I'm sorry, I gave the wrong fruit. I meant to keep that. I want to give better fruit, worse fruit, whatever it is, and you can undo it. But this nan saw Truma tmeya shenaf lelu pachis mimeya chulin tirakev. If you have, here I have a picture. I like this kind of stuff. I always wondered, how does somebody mix fruit in? So here you have it. You have on the left, you have a chulin truck. It's full of chulin. Comes the dump truck that has truma tmei on it and dumps in a little bit of a few apples. And now you have a taroivis, now you have a mixture. What do you do with the mixture? Now, truma is for the kohen. Truma tmeya, even a kohen can't eat because it's tamei. How's he going to eat it? No one in the world could eat it. Israel can't eat it because it's truma. A kohen can't eat it because it's tamei. So you have a problem here. You have a couple of apples, maybe more than a couple, whatever it is, a couple of apples that fell into the truck. And now all the apples, we don't know which one is the truma tmeya, which one is the chulin. What do? Saw truma tmeya shenavle pachis mimeya chulin. You have less than 100. Here you see the shiur of 100 to 1. Chulin terakiv. You have to just let it sit and spoil. Holameya ta'ala. But if it's more than 100 to 1 ratio, good to bad, then it's fine. But the problem is, truma, you go to the Rav and undo the whole truma. What's the problem? The dump truck came, dumped in 10 apples. So go to the rabbi and say, listen, you go to these 3 rabbanim, you say, I had a bunch of apples here, his picture, a bunch of apples that fell into the truck, and they were truma. Undo the truma. I want you to undo the truma. And the Rav will say, okay, it's not truma. You'll have to give a new truma. So what's the problem? Anything that you could go to the Rav and make it mutter, it can't not become batal. But over here it says that it will become batal, 100 to 1. If there's 100 apples in the truck and one apple fell off the dump truck, it becomes batal. Beroiv. Why? He has the option and the ability to go to the Rav and be mevatel it. And anytime you could be mevatel your neder and your truma and everything else, it's as if it didn't happen. It's as if you have apples and apples, kosher and kosher, apples and apples that are both chulin, and that doesn't become batal. Amri. So now we're going to go into a doicha kind of answer. We're going to go with it until we can't go anymore. B'truma biat kohen askinon. The limotzi mitchel Allah. The truma already came to the kohen's hand. And therefore it's not the Yisrael's right to be mevatel it. Well, that's how the Ran learns. Other Rishonim learn the Yisrael could be mevatel it, even if it's the kohen's hand. Just the kohen can't be mevatel it. We're talking about the kohen. It's not his right to be mevatel. He's not the one that made the neder. He's not the one that made a truma. So now you see the question we had in the beginning of this year. What about tzedakah? So if you hold like the Ran, that no one has the right to be mevatel, and that makes a lot of sense, at least to me, because once it's out of your possession, the kohen could go and be mekadesh a woman with it. It's his 100%. So the Yisrael doesn't have the right to be mevatel. Other Rishonim hold not like that. They hold no. The Yisrael could always be mevatel as long as the kohen didn't eat it. The Yisrael could go and take it back, go to the Rav and say, I made a mistake. I gave the kohen the wrong thing. And by tzedakah also they say the same halacha. Shulchan Aruch paskins like the Ran. Would be a pellet. You give an ani $100, and he turns around and curses you. It's happened a few times. Chutzpah, guy once said, Mamash, you don't have the right to decide how much to give me. Because Baruch Hu has the right. Why do you give me so little? That sort of thing. So you could say, Rav, I want to be mevatel the money I gave him. It's not his anymore. He has to give it back to me. You could do that, according to those Rishonim. Pellet. If you're telling me, okay, so this sounds a little forced, then we're not talking about that it's still in the Yisrael's hands. Talking about that he already gave it to the kohen. Since he gave it to the kohen doesn't have the right, or the Yisrael doesn't have the right to go to the Rav. That's why he can't go to the Rav. You ask me, how come he can't go to the Rav? If he could go to the Rav, anytime he could go to the Rav and undo the Truma, it shouldn't be batal. The answer is, we're talking about a special case. He can't go to the Rav. As the Gemara, Yahachim Seifa. Im Haisa Tahira Timacha Lekayin. Here we go. Another dump truck. Here you have cement truck. No, what is cement truck? It's MDY. It's a fruit truck. That's how you deliver fruit.
Why is it saying MDY?
It says the because he makes mistakes. That guy. The other one has MDY. Fine. The Truma Tahira is dumped into chulin. It's 2 minim, right? Chulin a Yisrael could eat, Truma only a kohen could eat. But now he could really eat it because it's tar. What does it say? What do you mean timacha l'kohen? You just told me that the Mishnah is talking about it's already in the kohen's possession. So if it's already in the kohen's possession, why are you selling it to a kohen? It seems like it's not in the kohen's possession yet. It's in the Yisrael's possession, and the Yisrael should sell it to a kohen. Says the Gemara, Elo b'Yisrael shenaflu mi Bais avi imoy. What's going on here? Another. You want to force it? Let's force it all the way to the end. Here we go. We have a kohen who married a woman, and he has truma. It doesn't matter when he has it. He has a daughter who married a Yisrael, and that Yisrael and the kohen's daughter had a child. And the kohen on top dies. So Memela, the truma went to the Yisrael. Okay, so again, if the truma is in the kohen's hand, could anybody go to the Rav and ask a shayla? No. So the first issue is, we're trying to accomplish 2 things here. First of all, we're trying to talk 2 very simple things. Trying to accomplish that we have a case where no one could go to the Rav and undo this truma. What's the case? The truma went to the kohen. It says in the Mishnah over there, it says that he sold it to a Kohen. What do you mean you sold it to the Kohen? He is a Kohen. Look, that Kohen in the picture has a bunch of truma. Oh, the answer is yes, but there's another step. It went to his grandson, the Yisrael, because he died. So now they went to the grandson, the Yisrael. The grandson, the Yisrael, can't eat it. It's truma. So what does he do with it? Yimachar l'Kohen. It seems very forced, but we're trying to get out of a little bit of a problem. So we'll do that. So says the Gemara, we're talking about that it somehow got to Yisrael after it went to a Kohen. So first of all, it went to a Kohen, so he can't go to the Rav and try to undo the Truma. And he has to sell to a Kohen because now it's in the hands of Yisrael. As the Gemara of Aktani Seifa Timachar LeKohen, Chut Midmei Oisasa. The same picture. Oh, I thought it was funny because as I just put the picture in sitting here in this room, because as I was coming here, they sent me a picture of Yaakov Ayal's wedding with somebody dancing with that little guy. Punk put him in today. Mamish, Hashgacha Pratis, Rabbi said, a hug from Hashem. Fine. So anyway, here you see that little circle? That little circle represents the truma part. What happened? A dump truck came and dumped that little circle of fruit into a larger pile of fruit that the kohen already had. We said the whole pile he can't eat, he could eat. Now he gave it to his grandson. So it says the grandson, he got it from his grandfather. He should sell it all to a kohen. But it says the Gemara of Aktani Seifa Timachar LeKohen Chut Midmei Oisasa. He could sell the entire pile besides whatever's in the circle. The question is why? He inherited the entire pile. Let him sell the whole pile. Why is there any part of the pile that he can't sell? Elo'ema. So that's it. Okay, so enough with this forced maisa that there's a kohen and he got it, and therefore nobody could do it. What? Yeah. Well, it must be that we're still talking about a Yisrael that has it, and the question is, if it's Yisrael that has it, why can't he go to the rabbi and undo the truma? And the halach is, if you can undo the truma, then it's not batal. But we said it is batal. This is again something that we mentioned. So everybody is familiar with this. When it comes to a neder, you have no right to make a neder. You shouldn't be making Nedarim. So if you made a neder, what should you do? Run to the rabbi and null the neder. Be mevatel the neder. So since I'm expecting you to run to the rabbi, so I'm looking at it, explains the Ran, as mamish as davar mutter. Right now it's aser. But you're mechuyev to run to the rabbi and undo it. So it's davar mutter. And a davar mutter with another davar mutter, two apples and a mutter and mutter, they're not mevatel each other. Domer ibn Asim, kol ha-noider ki'ilu banabama. The other wants to see what it looks like. Ki'ilu banabama. Yoshi. Moirdik. I love this one. Two Hasidim playing tennis in their mansion backyard, and he has a shtickle bama in his backyard with the car parked on top of it, on the ramp. Okay, fine. That's what it looks. In my mind, that's what it looked like. What's pshat? Just to remind everybody, the Ran in Daf Bais says beautifully. He says that we have enough chumras and isurim in our Torah. You have no business adding chumras, says the Ran. This is the Ran's lashon. Isn't it enough what the Torah gave you Yisurim? So what are you adding Yisurim? It's like a guy that decides that he's frumer than thou. He could go and build a mizbech in his backyard, even though you're not supposed to. He's going to build a mizbech and bring a carbon to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have no business doing it. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Chazer is aser, Nevela is aser, this is aser. Now you're going to go and say that chocolate is also aser? You're making a neder against chocolate? You have no right to do that. Run to the Rav and undo it. We said it 1,000 times, you got to say it again. The famous question, think about it. If you found out today that you're a guy, your mother's not Jewish, or that your grandmother's not Jewish, you thought she was and she's not, in Mamela, you're a guy, what would you do? Right now, what would you do? So we had Rabbi Grieman, Maisa Shoya with Rabbi Grieman. He said his friend, it happened to him. And then he told me, he just gave me, he's not here today? He gave me the follow-up story. He just met him recently. In Aish, the guy got up, ran out of the base, never saw him again. But there was another Motsei he told me. He might have met him again or something. I don't remember. Okay, anyway. But Rav Shimshon Pinkel says, if he found out that he's a guy, he'd build a bama and make a carbon on the bama. Because the guy's mutter in it. And then he'd become Jewish again. Huh? Mendy would learn on Nittelnacht. Gewaldig. Wow. Somebody asked yesterday, Rabbi Shimon was telling me that there are people saying, how come I don't repeat some of the stuff? So again, if I don't repeat it, I'm not saying it's shtusim. I just think it's shtusim. It's not worth repeating. If I repeat it, it's because it's geschmack. It's almost shtusim. Oh, das ist shtusim. Elaima. Bishlam economics this literally alim mishuner nasan kolano the kilu bana bama ba mekaimo kilu b'makter leo. And if you go through your nethers as if you brought a carbon on that bama. Truma my mitzvah l'chulei, but truma there's no mitzvah. We don't expect you to go to the Rav to undo it. Memela it's considered davar she'ein lo matirim, and then it's batal. Guv amar b'yochanan litra betzalim shetikna uzra. You took an onion, a bunch of onions, a whole liter of onions, and you took trumas and maises from it, uzra, and then you planted it. Here we're going to use the same picture because it doesn't really matter. It's the same idea. You take an onion, you put it in, you took trumas and maises, and then you put it into the ground. Put it into the ground after it was already good. And what grew out of it? Another 9. Mitaseres lefikula. So the 9 overcome the 1, and now you have to take truma again for a second time on the onion that's on the right. What's going on here? I took all my trumas and maizers, 100% mutter for me to eat. I threw it into the ground. That same onion that I put in the ground, nothing changed. The year later you come, you look at it, it's the same bulb. By the way, Shlomi Klein told me yesterday, very interesting thing. I never knew this. You know the difference between an onion and a shallot? He says the same exact thing. The onion, if you plant it too close to each other, then it becomes a shallot. And then he said also that certain onions, because we had this question, I was talking to Rabbi Shomer yesterday, how do you have an onion that's batal beroiv? An onion only has one onion child. One to one. So how does that one become 60 times larger than the other one? Okay, different child. But he says that a shallot is basically an onion that you plant very close to each other. Yeah. But after 2 years or so, the onion top, the heads, they have seeds. And memela, that's the growth that comes in. Maybe that's the roiv. Whatever. Okay, fine. Each in their own. And then the 2 people told me yesterday that when it says crushed, although the Ran doesn't say it, the Ran says mamish crushed with the machine, meducha, he talks about meducha, the crushed will be there Motsei Shabbos, Rabbi Yisai.
Ben's freezing.
Huh?
Ben is freezing.
Benny's freezing. What's going on? There's no heat over there, Benny? So he said that some people learn that it's that you crush, you just twist the top so it stops growing. Okay, fine. Yosef Rabba v'komelo shmaitza. Says Rabba. Rav Chizda said, "Man tzoyis loch ul Rabbi Yochanan Rabba." Chizda said to Rabba, "Who's going to listen to you and to your Rebbe Rabbi Yochanan?" So the Belzer told me yesterday that in Ksubas Daf Kuf Yud, he always says with the nut. Kuf Yud says that Rabba's brothers told him to go learn Torah by Rabbi Yochanan. In Eruvin, Daf Chav Beis Amud Beis, Tosfos says that he did. He actually did learn a lot of Rishonim are mechulek on Tosfos. And also in Yevamos Daf Ayin Hey Amud Aleph, check it out. Tosfos says he did learn. So over here it says Mefurish. It says who's going to listen to you, Rabba, and your Rebbe, Rabbi Yochanan? Seems like Rabba did learn by Rabbi Yochanan, not like those other Rishonim. Like Tosfos says, okay. It's always and throughout Shas, anytime it says Rabba, they say Rava. Okay, fine. So good. So you just ruined it.
No, it says Rabba.
By me, it says Rabba. Okay, it's an obvious question. I had an onion that was 100% mutter to eat, and now you tell me I can't eat it. What's going on here? How could something that's mutter to eat and the trumas and in other words, the Ran explains a little bit better when it comes to trumas and maizer. It goes by percentages. It's a math. You have 100 onions. You have to take 10 of them for maizer. You don't have 100 onions. You have 99. Why are you taking maizer on something that doesn't exist? On my lay, Milayt Nad the Kavasa, I have a Mefurish Mishnah. Betzalim Shiur Daleim Sham V'Tzimchu. You have an onion from the 6th year. Daf Yomi the Bais, sponsored by Yankel Cohen, the official MDY MSP. The schus being able to support limud hatorah to finish shas rebellion. You have a 6th year onion that you threw into the ground on the 7th, or let's say, okay, you have a 6th year onion, it grew completely, and it's in the ground now. You didn't do anything, let's say. Here, we had this yesterday. If you have nice dark green leaves, that shows that it actually nourished from the ground in the 7th, then it's aser. If the leaves are shvach hamaisis, mutter. As the Gemara, how could you take this entire, all the leaves on the right side that are nice and dark? If it grew in the 6th year, it grew in the 6th. It's completely mutter. How are you telling me that all the leaves are also? And the Ran goes into the whole thing that, okay, not now. So you're right. We're only talking about from the red line and above. We're talking about what grew be'isr in the 7th year. That's what's also. I can't take something that's mutter. Everything on the right is 100% mutter. I can't take that and make it also. So now we're about to say what Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is. What is he coming to be mechadish? What is he adding? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says the sign. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel something that grew when it was in a bad time in Shemitah, then it's aser. If it grew in the 6th year, potter. So we're talking about, let's say, you took an onion, let's say it's in the ground, let's say it's not in the ground, it's easy to understand if it's like out of the ground. Okay, you take it out of the ground, and it rained a little bit on it, some water made it grow. Okay, such a thing. But it grew biser. It grew in the 6th year, it's good. It grew in the 7th year, it's no good. The extra, the added growth. Tanakama nami yochiyamar. So what's Rav Shimon Gamliel adding over here? He didn't add a thing. That's exactly what we're saying. That anything above the red line is aser if it grew in the 7th year. Everything above the red line, if it grew in the 6th year, is mutter. Okay, that's mamish what the Tanakama says. Says Gemara. We're just saying that, you know who shita it is? It's Rav Shimon Gamliel. Mamish, he's the Mishnah. Rav Shimon Gamliel and the Mishnah, they go together. It says the Gemara, very interesting. When a person leaves his onion in the ground, he didn't do anything. He didn't exert any effort. He let it grow. So the Gemara now says, unbelievable, exactly what the svar is, but he's saying that if he didn't exert effort, there's no tircha. Great. When a person goes and takes a 6th year onion, and he works hard to be over the Isser, and he puts it in the ground, then it's batal beroiv. You hear? If a person exerts effort, then all of a sudden we have a bittul beroiv. So you have a nafkimina between a person who works hard and doesn't work hard, and somehow that relates to bittul beroiv. We would never have known that. Hopefully we remember such a thing. That if you're exerting effort, then there's a bittul beroiv for the worse. V'chol heicha de katorach batal beruba. As the Gemara, v'chol heicha de katorach batal beruba v'arei litra meiser tevel de katorach. The case of, it's similar to what we had, but not exactly. This is the case we had yesterday. You take an onion that needs, the Levi forgot or didn't give the 10% of that onion to a Kohen. First, the Yisrael takes 10% and gives it to the Levi. Then the Levi takes his 10% and gives from the 10% his 10% to the Kohen. Shabbos, you wrote me something about this, that it should be different in the chart. Okay, we'll talk about it. But this case, you wrote me yesterday. So, and then comes Shemitah, and that one onion had 9 babies, shallots, and they're potter from Meiser. Asked the Gemara Kasha, and didn't he exert effort here? He exerted effort. he took an onion and planted it in the ground, it should be batal b'roiv. But yet, what do we say? It's not batal b'roiv. We don't look at the onion on the right, the one that he planted, as if it's the onions on the left, which are pater from meiser. We say the onion on the right, you have to take meiser from it. You have to trumas meiser. We should call it trumas meiser to the kohen. The truma that the Levi is mafresh is called trumas meiser, the truma of a meiser of the 10%. Says the Gemara, very interesting, and we're going to finish with the gufa here. Shana gabe meiser domakro aser to aser. Here's the pasuk aser to aser. What's interesting about this pasuk? It should say, if you were writing the Torah, you would write aser is called tfu azarecha. Take meiser from all. What's the double lashon aser to aser? To teach us that there's a case that even though you would think that you don't have to take a meiser, you do have to take a meiser. And what's the case? Our case, we took an onion that already has meiser and you put it in the ground. But wait a minute. We're not done. So don't jump up yet. I know it's almost Shabbos. Aser to aser. Says the Gemara like this. Ve'teiro zari inche. Most of the time people put in the ground what? Things that are mutter. We're not talking about Rishayim over here. Most of the time they put things that are mutter. So Memela, what the pasuk is talking about? Things that are mutter. The pasuk is not talking about things that are asur. If I had to guess, what is the pasuk talking about? Something that you have to be meiser, even though it already took meiser from. Something that's mutter, not something that's asur. Oh. So it goes like this. The pasuk is talking about where, very interesting, a person took an onion. This is the pasuk. Took an onion. What's an onion? Davar shaloi kala. It doesn't disintegrate. He took the onion, he put it in the ground. After he took meiser, put it in the ground. So what is that called? A davar mutter. He already took meiser from him. He's allowed to eat it. Davar mutter. And that's what the pasuk is usually talking about. Pasuk is usually talking about something that's mutter. And it grew a little bit. What's halacha? You have to take another meiser from it. Aser to aser. If you put something mutter in the ground and it grew a little bit, you have to take another meiser. But if, listen to this is very important. But if you took something that's aser, the pasuk is not talking about that. Took something else, and even though there was a tircha, you asked me a question. There was a tircha. In the case that a person took trumas meiser, there was missing trumas meiser. What is that? That's davar aser. In the case that he put something that is a tircha, because it's trumas to plant. And it's a davar aser because there's no trumas meiser taken from it, and he put it in the ground, and it grew, and l'chayra, the Gidon should be okay, mutter. On that we say it's not mevatel. You hear? The Isser doesn't go away. Why? Because this pasuk is not talking about it. This pasuk is talking about davar mutter, not davar aser. Ask the Ran, the biggest bomb question ever. How in the world could the pasuk be talking about an onion? An onion is pater from meiser. Midaraisa, only grain is chayiv meiser. Only certain things. Onions and vegetables are pater. How can you tell me a pasuk of aser to aser is talking about an onion? Davar shaloi kala. The whole sugya is an onion shaloi kala. There's something that doesn't disintegrate, and that's only an onion. We're not talking about fruits on a tree. We're not talking about wheat. And Memela, it's mamish a good kasha. And Memela, he says this whole pasuk is only a smachta ba'alma. Rabboisai, have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos. I gotta hear it.